What up, y'all? This is MC Nadzzz, MC hostess extraordinaire.
And this is DJ Mel Boogie. DJ with the mostest, with the skills, who knows the music, who can mash up anybody. This is DJ Mel Boogie. Who is MC Nadzzz?
DJ Mel Boogie is
A music lover. I've been so since I was a child.
I love everything that has to do with music. I grew up in a musical house.
R&B, reggae, Stone Love, Otis Redding, classical music, country, was all that stuff.
Played piano, taught piano, played drums in high school. Always wanted to be a producer, but didn't have the patience, I think, to do it on my own. But fortunately, I've had the opportunity to work with some really creative people.
I'm also about the jokes, man. You get in front of me or I get with you and I'm gonna make you laugh. I'm gonna make some kind of stupid joke. I don't know if it's gonna make sense, but as long as I put a smile on your face, then that's what I aim to do. And I'm also about the positivity, man, because at this point and at this age and stage in the game in life, I think all we can do is manifest positivity so that we can attract it.
I have always loved music. I'm a huge fan of music. It doesn't matter what it is, hip hop, soul, soca. It's just something that's always been in my blood. And I didn't realize that, radio and DJing would be something for me, but
I would slice cassette tapes and make my own mixtape and go to school and be the girl that had the new music. And I would wait. I would sit down on the radio, press record, press stop, open the cassette tape, splice that up, and then I was like, oh, what am I doing? This is something I love to do.
Listening to Ron Nelson on CKLN, Fantastic Voyage, every Saturdays is kind of what solidified my journey. So I always have to hail up Ron Nelson. He brought up artists from New York, which was the mecca of hip hop. And he was basically the conduit, like the bridge between a lot of New York music and Toronto music and just bringing those artists together.
I want to hail him up too, because when I was at York, when I finally figured out my life after high school, I took a hip hop class and Ron was my teacher. So big up Ron Nelson, because I know he is the promoter with the mostest from time. So yeah, same. Love all that same music. Everything she said, man, same thing. The greatest obstacle I had to overcome in media, I think, was myself, to be honest. You walk into an industry where, yes, it's heavily dominated by males, but there are a bunch of female influences that I had to connect with, and you have to do the work. But the obstacle was me, because I was putting these obstacles in front of me saying, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, this is a male industry. I'm gonna, I'm feeling intimidated. I'm like, what am I doing? Get that out of my head.
I think the greatest obstacle that I had to overcome in media was being taken seriously, especially as a female DJ. It just seems kind of like an oxymoron because you don't see a lot of women in that field. I feel that I had to work harder, be 10 times as good as even like the most regular male DJ, just to prove myself.
I needed to stop being in my own way. And until I did that, I realized that I was my own block. I was my own obstacle. And when you get out of your own head and you start opening up to that, I think that's where opportunities start to come and things start coming to you, because you have to do the work.
Part of it was me. I was my biggest obstacle. But at the same time, it was being taken seriously by other people because it was an untraditional role for a woman.
And I needed to get out of my own way and get over the stereotypes that I was being told that I was walking into. I needed to, not play into, you're supposed to do this and you should be acting like that. I don't think so. MC Nadzzz don't play that.
For me, as far as like defining moment, there isn't one specific one. There are several. And just kind of looking back in my career and at my career, I realized that each step kind of led to something else. Yeah. Something that had me on cloud 9 for like years after is that after the show, King Lou from the Dream Warriors helped me carry my record crates to the car. Like, you can't get much better than that. Back in '95, that was like a huge deal because Dream Warriors were international stars, and here's King Lou helping little old me to the car with my record crate.
When I got to be a host or an MC, however you want to identify me, on a really big music festival that took place down at Woodbine Center when they started doing music festivals. And this festival was a mishmash of like reggae and soca. And on the stage, it was, I believe, a Saturday, I was alongside 2 other prominent hosts in the industry. And I got to stand in front of a crowd of 10,000 to 15,000 people. It was somewhere between there. And we got to introduce Allison Hines. We got to introduce Baby Sham. We got to banter, and I got to engage with this crowd. And it was just so amazing. Like, I had those moments of pause where maybe the other hosts were speaking, but I was standing there going, oh my God, this is it. This is what I love to do. I love talking to people and engaging, and the energy. I mean, you know, artists say that all the time. Artists say they feel the energy from a crowd coming in. But for me, standing up as a host, talking to people, getting them to laugh, it's not easy. But if you can read a crowd and know what you're doing and banter with your colleagues in the right way, it was the most defining moment for me. And I was like, all right, I'm here. I could do this. I got this.
I've really made a point of helping to develop artists and making sure that there is some kind of foundation, since Canada doesn't seem to support independent artists, especially those in Black music. I've always loved writing. And once I started doing radio, I realized that not a lot of artists had press kits and bios and EPKs. And I started doing PR because there was a gap. They didn't know how to present themselves, or many didn't. They had that certain stage quality and how to perform on stage and that certain charisma, but they didn't know how to translate that into speaking on radio and representing yourself on television. And I studied marketing at York University, and I just kind of transferred some of those skills into writing and doing publicity, which led me to do publicity for one of the greatest of all time, Ghostface Killah. And I basically set up a whole media tour for him across the country. And to me, that was like one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. It's been an amazing journey, because as a fan of music, you never think that you have the opportunity to actually speak to these artists. But then through radio, you know, you're allowed to develop these relationships, and you're still a fan of the music, but you have the opportunity that a lot of fans don't have, and you get your chance to ask those questions.
Ooh, one of my most embarrassing moments would be, it was I guess it was in my first week or second week being on air. And so I said this slang word on air. Now, I'm aware that this slang word had a lot of negative connotation to it. But at the time when I said it, I was just in a moment in the field with my colleagues, you know, and it slipped. What embarrassed me the most was that a caller called in to say that that word shouldn't have been said or used on air, and why. And I knew that, you know, and that was one of those moments where I was like, Nadzzz, you shouldn't have done that. That was embarrassing for me, because I don't want to make those kind of flubs, because I'm educated enough to know what's right and what's wrong, and those things have weight. In the Caribbean, just like any other culture, there are words that carry weight. And I knew that, so that was pretty embarrassing for me.
I'm a klutz, just naturally. I can't help it, man. I can't help it. Like, I've tripped over my own feet. I've tripped going up on the up escalator, like nonsense like that. I think the first time I took off the needle off the vinyl in the middle of a mix, just because my mind was on so many other things. It's probably the worst thing, but like, you take it as a learning opportunity. And I know I will never do that again. So even though it's seen as embarrassing for some people, it's definitely like a learning experience for me. And I don't take myself that seriously. So like, if you can laugh at yourself, then you're good.
I agree.
Hey, go on, Boo Boo Bear.